What's up, dudes? All right, so Spirit, we're doing like extra soul school classes today. Free soul school. Yeah. What are we learning about today? Can you separate the art and the artist? What? Can you separate the art and the artist? I've talked about it before. Yeah. So a lot of people want to enjoy art. They want to collect art. They want to appreciate art. But they might not have the art history background to know which artists to get behind. And so sometimes people think to themselves, I recognize that name. All right, so that's somebody famous. That's somebody worth celebrating. So Spirit is saying we have to stop projecting onto people what we want to see, and we should start learning the history of people before we decide if we're going to celebrate them or not. So for example, Pablo Picasso. We all know Pablo Picasso, the name Picasso. This brilliant creative genius who did Cubism. Yeah. Well, do we know that he was a woman hater? He absolutely hated women. He was a misogynist. It was so bad, he made it to that level. He had left a trail of suicidal women behind him. So when you look at those paintings of the women, they're all fucked up, like one eye here, one eye there. Yeah, that's the carcass of a woman he destroyed. That's what he's painting. He's not celebrating the woman. He's celebrating that he destroyed that woman. He was a full-blown narcissist. He had an ex-wife who divorced him, and who was also an artist. He made sure she was blacklisted. Her art never to show. So, and I'm not exaggerating right now. I believe the Pablo Picasso Museum has announced, yeah, they have to acknowledge his rotten behavior. So not only do they show his art, they show his ex-wife's art too. The woman whose career he ruined because she had the audacity of getting out of a toxic relationship. So he's, it's like, can you separate the art and the artist? I don't know. For me, there's about 7 billion people on planet Earth. Yeah, I really can't. No. There's another artist that's not a total fucking dick to celebrate. Yeah. Georgia O'Keeffe, badge flower painter. Yeah, she was a full-blown narcissist. When she was a child, her family called her Peaches. Georgia, Peaches. They were scared of her tantrums. They just let her have her way because she was a little bitch. She had a little sister, Ida. Another sister, Ida. She had 2 sisters. Yeah, Ida was an accomplished painter. Her other sister was a painter too. But Ida was an accomplished painter. And her painting style was nothing like Georgia's at all. Ida did this amazing series of lighthouses that are next level brilliant. And her sister bullied her so much. Her sister threw such a tantrum. There can only be one smoking hot cutie pie painter in the family, and it's Peaches. Yeah, she made her sister stop painting. Very complicated relationships with narcissists. And so there's a lot of people who celebrate Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings without really knowing who she was. It's like Coco Chanel. People will be decked head to toe in Coco Chanel and have no idea she was a Nazi sympathizer. What does that mean? What does Nazi sympathizer mean? It means she got dressed up in her Coco Chanel outfits during the war and hobnobbed with Nazis. She went to the Nazi parties. She got behind the Nazis movement. She had friends that were Nazis. She went to Nazi parties. She was essentially, so a Nazi sympathizer is somebody who is not technically part of that government group, but they got behind it. So now in in today's day and age, when we talk about Nazi sympathizers, is there a difference? Like, is there a difference? If you're eating with Nazis, if you're partying with Nazis, if you're hanging out with Nazis, if you're making money for the Nazi cause, if you're getting behind everything the Nazis are doing, are you a fucking Nazi? Yeah. Yeah, I think you are. You are who you hang out with. And she enjoyed hanging out with the Nazis. She was a Nazi sympathizer. So there's a lot of Jewish people that are yeah, and then the company was bought back. Yeah, there is some Jewish ties within the company. So we have a lot of people who are Jewish, decked head to toe in Coco Chanel, and have no idea she was a Nazi Yeah, I hear it. You're my supervisor. She was a Nazi sympathizer. So I'm gonna put some information. Yeah, and like she designed the little black. She made the little black dress. She was the first. No, she wasn't. Coco Chanel was known as a liar. She had a lying problem. She was kind of a charlatan. She was a good businesswoman, but what she got, yeah, she created Jersey Jit. I hear Jersey Jit, Jersey Knit. She created Jersey Knit. No, she didn't. She got giant bolts of I hear Jersey Jit. She got giant bolts of Jersey Knit fabric on super clearance sale, and then made something out of it, and then said then she's just claimed that she's the first one to do it. She just claimed she's the first one to do the little black dress, but people have been doing little black dresses way before that. She just claimed it all for herself. So Spirit is saying, let's learn about the things we like to celebrate ourselves and see if after we've learned about the history of those things, if we still find that we want to celebrate them or not, and go into it with educated minds. So I'm going to put a clip about Pablo Picasso, Georgia O'Keeffe, and Coco Chanel down in the comment. 3 different clips in the comment section. And it's very interesting if you get into psychology, if you get into marketing, any of that. It's really interesting to watch that stuff. And then ask yourself, after knowing the dynamic between the 2 sisters and knowing that Georgia killed her sister's ability to paint, yeah, do you like that badge flower as much? Like, is that as interesting to you? Or are you now thinking about those series of lighthouses that are sistered? If you had found out she was very supportive towards her sister with a different painting style, would you like both those styles the same? Is your opinion swayed about Pablo Picasso when you learn he chewed up and spit out women on purpose? So much that the museum has to acknowledge it? Do you feel different with the double C's when you know there was a whole bunch of Nazi sympathizing happening? It's thought exercises. All right, so there's our AP Energy class, Soul School. We're going to learn about projecting onto people what we want to see and what the truth is. Okay, it's 4:44. I just got it. The time is 4:44. Spirit's like, look at the time. We have I just got this download that just came in as I was getting the thing ready. We have somebody who's an artist who has incredible imposter syndrome. They may use a projector or stencils or something like that, and they may feel a little bit ashamed that it's all not freestyle, like freehand drawing. Yeah. So what I want to tell you as somebody who did go to art school, that is just as much being an artist is someone who does freehand drawing. You are just utilizing a tool to make the end project be art. So yes, you are an artist. So a lot of times, even into ancient history, people had mathematical cheats, you would say, maybe. They would have small little frames with twine grids on them. So they would go out, set up their easel out in nature, and then block their easel off with kind of like a grid pattern. Think like Vincent van Gogh. Okay, that's what I just heard. Then they'd have the same scale as their canvas, a little handheld thing that was gridded out. And what they would do is they would hold it and look at it and say, okay, I'm just going to paint the left upper quadrant of this grid. I'm seeing now that this tree kind of goes like in an S shape through the first part of that grid square. And then they go on their thing and they paint the S shape. People have done it since the beginning of time. It's a tool and it's very intelligent. If you use stencils, if you use projectors, if you may do overlay tracing or something, in the end, if you're creating a new piece of art, that is just as respectable as if you freehand it. So it's very, very hard sometimes. There's two words, artist and musician, that sometimes people suffer with imposter syndrome to call themselves that. So if you make any kind of art using whatever tools you use to create art, you are an artist. Whether or not you've sold it, whether or not you've shown it to anybody, you are an artist. If you've made music, whether or not you've heard your music on the radio, whether or not you've recorded it, whether or not anybody else besides you has heard your music, if you make music, you are a musician. So those are the messages from Spirit. All right, have a good day.